Both JP Morgan and the Deutsche Bank are now expecting the Federal Reserve to end QT at the next FOMC tomorrow, and that is going to have a big effect on Bitcoin and the crypto market. So that is what we need to discuss within today's update video, because in the history of Bitcoin and the asset itself, we have always seen the most parabolic moves after QT ended. So we will discuss that, but also a lot more, like all of the most important Bitcoin charts and price data. I will give a big update on my Ethereum trading position and of course my outlook for altcoins and the upcoming altcoin season. So from there guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel and watch my latest update videos, and then we can dive into the most important content. Like stated in the intro, both Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan are now expecting the Federal Reserve to end QT next week here, but actually the next FOMC is tomorrow. So these large asset managers and these large banks in this case are expecting the Federal Reserve to stop QT. And looking into what this always meant historically wise for Bitcoin, it is looking quite good. For Bitcoin, a QT ending stage usually also means that in the future, in the months after, QE is eventually also going to get started. I think the market is a little bit too focused on the upcoming rate cut, because we do know quite for certain that indeed the Fed is going to cut rates once again tomorrow to 375 to 400 basis points. But I personally think that the most important thing of tomorrow's meeting is going to be, what is Powell going to announce about QT? And is he maybe even going to say something about QE? Because if large asset managers like JP Morgan and banks like the Deutsche Bank are expecting the Federal Reserve to QT, what do they know that we don't? I think we could have a major announcement upcoming for tomorrow. Of course, I don't know for certain. Maybe they're not even going to mention it. You never know. But in case it's going to happen, I think it is going to have a very positive effect on Bitcoin, like we saw in, for example, 2020 here, and like we saw in 2012. And after we saw major moves high for Bitcoin, of course, not immediately after QT. It was one straight move up. For example, here we got COVID first, and then Bitcoin started moving higher. But what I think is that a mention also for the short term is going to send most definitely somewhat of riskier assets like Ethereum and altcoins higher if it is truly going to get announced. So I am getting super excited about the meeting, and I will also be live streaming it on the channel. So make sure to come and check it out in about one day, and of course tomorrow evening. For the short-term Bitcoin price section, I personally think that we are just going to compress and consolidate a little bit more into the upcoming meeting, and tomorrow we are probably going to see where the market is going to be heading next, because we are still in somewhat of a compression phase in my opinion. Price is compressing together since of course the major liquidation event, and I think now it's time for the market to take a next decision here. For Bitcoin, it looks very interesting because we are now getting rejected from off this major resistance level, and this is a level we have been talking about for over the last few months. And every single time we break this level, Bitcoin does make new all-time highs. Every single time we get rejected from off this level, we see major corrections to the downside. So this is going to be a very interesting moment for Bitcoin. If this is going to confirm as another rejection, we could maybe drop back before eventually heading higher. And if not, if Bitcoin is going to break this level, yeah, then you are looking into the range highs of about 120k. So let's see about exactly that. But this is indeed the most important level for Bitcoin to be breaking. So otherwise a move lower to the range lows once again could be likely, and this level also corresponds with the bull market support band here. Bitcoin is now trading above the bull market support band still, something we did talk about in yesterday's update video, so make sure to check it out also. I do think of course Bitcoin staying above the bull market support band is going to be the best scenario, but let's see about exactly that. For now we are holding above it as strong support. I personally think, like mentioned a lot of times, as long as Bitcoin is not going to break below the 50 daily moving average and just going to grab liquidity and move higher, just like we saw all of the previous times this bull market, then I'm not going to be scared about a bear market. Once Bitcoin is indeed going to break below the 50 weekly moving average here, yes, then indeed I think a bear market could be getting started. But for now, it's not looking like that is the case. And for now, Bitcoin is above the bull market support band, which is looking very good. What I'm quite interested in is, and what I'm quite curious about, is Bitcoin going to close October in the green, or in the red? That's going to be an interesting one, because we've not seen this a lot of times. Bitcoin being in the red in October, definitely not during the post-halving years, usually the most bullish years of the cycle. Now it is indeed a little bit different. So let's see about exactly that. We've only seen it before in 2018 and of course 2014. So basically the bear market years, which is quite an interesting decorrelation. But let's see, maybe October is just going to close in the green, because now it's still in a very small loss. And not only the Fed FOMC meeting this week, but also President Trump and the President of China will be meeting on Thursday. So that is of course also going to be a massive event, I personally think. And yeah, probably not as important as the FOMC, but definitely very important, because we do know that the US-China trade deal is a very important driver for the markets currently. And if you do want to get updated about news like this, or everything is going to happen, or all the trade setups I will be taking on possibly all the upcoming news from this week, make sure to come and join the VIP Telegram channel. You can find it here with the link in the description on this update video to the VIP Telegram group. There you can join, and there you can follow me in my own channel. I'm not the only one active in this group. Also Crypto Rover and 5 personal other traders are in here. I do the kids of high value. Come and check it out, and then you will know for certain. I also want to give an update on my Ethereum trading position now, because I'm still in this position of about 30k size and now $500 profit. But I ultimately think, and I will stay adding because of this, that Ethereum is going to see a final wave, a final push, and that's going to be the moment where we on the channel will be making a nice profit on our Ethereum trade, because I do know a lot of people are also in this trade or are trading altcoins based on this thesis. I think we were one of the only ones out there that did not get liquidated on this major liquidation event. And why? Because we have been DCAing in. And I will quickly explain for the people new here. If you DCA into a trade, what you're basically doing is you don't enter your full position size just in one go. You enter your position size in a few goes at different entry levels. Sometimes a little bit higher, sometimes a little bit lower. For example, here we had some limit orders open at the liquidation event, but I also was buying here at the range high of this new range on the short term, I would say so. So we have been buying at different levels, and that's why our average entry price is 4k, which is absolutely amazing in my opinion, because I think in the end it's not going to matter that much if ETH is probably going to move to 5 and 6k. Then we are still going to make a nice profit anyway. So I'm protected both sides of the market. I don't want to take too much more risk now. I will be adding more, but I am still a little bit cautious and waiting for example, the upcoming FOMC and the other events to see where Ethereum is going to be heading next, and then we can start taking some new trades once again. So make sure to keep your eyes on the channel. If you do want to join me, you can also claim a 20% deposit bonus and some other benefits on LBANK. That's where I'm personally trading on, so make sure to come and check it out. LBANK here, where you can trade Ethereum and a lot of different altcoin pairs, because they are listing super fast, so you can trade most of the pairs here with good liquidity. Make sure to come and check it out. In no way financial advice, but if you do want to claim your bonus, of course you can be doing so with the link in the description under the update video. And now into the Ethereum chart itself, because Ethereum is looking similar to what Bitcoin is showing us with this major resistance level. Also finding somewhat of mid-range resistance, I would say, here in this bigger range we are currently trading in. We bounce very nicely off the support here once again. Looks quite bullish, I personally think, but now we are getting rejected in somewhat of this mid-range level. And same like for Bitcoin, this is the level you do want to see it breaking before moving towards those range highs, and from there I do think Ethereum is eventually going to make new all-time highs. What you could see in this stage of the cycle, if the 4-year cycle is going to repeat once again, is if you for example go back to Bitcoin, is Bitcoin moving back to the range highs once again. They're topping out, somewhat of consolidation, but Ethereum just moving to the range highs and making new all-time highs. That is going to be a very likely scenario, and something we will keep our eyes on here in the ending stage of the cycle, and of course on the channel. So make sure to subscribe, because yes, I think our trade is going to perform quite well here. Most definitely once Ethereum is going to break this exact level here, and even better of course if indeed QT is going to get announced, because I don't think Bitcoin is going to see the most parabolic gains in this stage of the cycle because of an announcement like this, but it is definitely going to be a very bullish catalyst for example Ethereum and other altcoins. I think Ethereum is also setting up very similar like what we saw in March 2020, no, not in March but in late October after the COVID crash. Now we saw the tariff crash, of course, in March. Then we moved back up, a bull flag in late October, just like we saw in late October 2020. And eventually, I think that yes, this bull flag is going to break out higher and is going to give us that final and parabolic Ethereum wave. Maybe not of the same significance, but I do think that indeed we are going to see the final wave, and that's what I'm betting on with my Ethereum position. I'm still seeing a lot of positive signals in the market. I am slightly cautious because of the FOMC and the upcoming meeting from Trump and the president of China, of course. But yes, I think we are still going to see a big push higher here in the ending stage of the cycle, because that would make the most sense to me personally. That's why I think altcoin season is also set to make a comeback here in the near future, and we will definitely see somewhat of a period of outperformance for altcoins once again. Maybe in different altcoin season than we are used to, but yeah, let's see about exactly that. Everything is going to get more clear in the next few weeks here, I personally think. And guys, that was it for today's update video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's update video. If you did so, make sure to smash on that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in my next update video tomorrow.